Your vibration is upgrading. These signs mean God is sending energy your way. You ever have those days where everything feels off, but in a way that you can't explain to anyone around you? You wake up and the world feels slightly tilted. Your usual habits, the things that used to bring you comfort, don't feel the same. You're restless. You're sensitive to sounds, to people's energy, to your own thoughts. You try to shake it off, but something deeper is happening. And if this has been you lately, let me say this clearly. Your vibration is upgrading. And no, this isn't just a trendy phrase or some vague spiritual thing. This is real, it's sacred, and it's powerful. When your vibration begins to shift, it means that the old energetic blueprint you've been living by is being rewritten. And this isn't small. This is the kind of shift that changes the trajectory of your life. But here's the plot twist. It almost never feels good at first. God doesn't send energy your way to entertain you. Divine energy is sent to awaken you. An awakening is messy. It shakes your illusions. It pulls the rug from under your comfort zones. It forces you to confront all the places where you've been dimming your light. And that's why, when your vibration is upgrading, the first signs often look like breakdowns. Emotionally, you might cry for no reason. Physically, your body might feel heavy, tense, or even sick. Spiritually, you might feel like you're losing your connection entirely. But what if I told you that's part of the process? What if I told you that the unraveling is actually the evidence that something bigger is trying to anchor itself into your reality?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Here's the truth few people talk about. Every time God wants to elevate you, He begins by disturbing your current alignment. Why? Because you can't carry new frequency with old patterns. You can't receive a higher truth while clinging to outdated beliefs. You can't walk into your next season still vibrating at the level of survival. So what does the divine do? It sends energy, not just light and love, but truth, and truth disrupts, it excavates, it expands. That's why those who are truly on the path of spiritual elevation often feel like they're falling apart before they rise. Because what's actually crumbling is the version of you that cannot go where your spirit is destined to go. Let me ask you something, and I want you to go deep with this. What are you still holding on to that feels safe, but deep down you know it's expired? That job, that relationship, that role you've been playing just to keep the peace? Because as your vibration upgrades, those things start to feel unbearable. It's not that they suddenly got worse, it's that you are no longer resonating on the same frequency. And that dissonance, that ache, that pressure in your chest that won't go away, that's spiritual friction. That's your soul telling you it's time to evolve. But we resist it because evolution means loss. It means change. It means stepping into uncertainty. And as humans, we're wired to seek familiarity, even if it's killing us softly. So when your vibration rises, you'll be tempted to shrink back, to numb out, to distract yourself. But if you do that, you delay the gift, you delay the breakthrough, you delay the version of you that's already waiting on the other side of the discomfort. And this is where most people quit their journey. They misinterpret the symptoms of ascension as signs they're failing. But you're not failing, you're shedding, you're awakening. And it's supposed to feel like this. Another deep sign that God is sending energy your way is that your perception starts to shift. You begin to see through people, through conversations, through systems. It's like your inner vision gets sharper. You can no longer tolerate surface level anything. You crave realness, depth, silence. You start to feel like you're floating between two dimensions, one foot in the old world, one foot in something you can't fully name yet. That's because as your vibration upgrades, your soul starts syncing up with a higher timeline. You're literally being pulled toward the life that's more aligned with your divine design. But to get there, everything out of alignment must fall away. And let me be clear, this is not punishment, this is preparation. God is not trying to break you, He's trying to build you. But to build you, He has to clear the debris. He has to clear the trauma you've normalized, the beliefs you've inherited, the coping mechanisms you've mistaken for personality traits. All of that has to be examined, felt, and released. Not because you're broken, but because you're being recalibrated. And recalibration hurts, but it's also holy. So what can you do during this upgrade? First, stop trying to make it make sense to people who aren't experiencing it. This journey is sacred and it's not for everyone to understand. Second, honor what your body and soul are asking for. Rest more, eat differently, be in nature, meditate, journal, cry, laugh, scream if you need to. Expression is part of the expansion. Third, trust the process. That phrase might sound cliche, but it's everything. Because the moment you stop resisting and start surrendering, the energy flows more freely. The downloads come faster, the clarity sharpens, and suddenly the chaos doesn't feel like punishment anymore. It feels like prophecy unfolding. You're not going crazy, you're not broken, you're not lost. You're in the middle of a divine frequency shift. And yes, it's intense, but what's on the other side of this? It's not just peace, it's power. Not just healing, but wholeness. Not just clarity, but divine instruction. You are being upgraded so you can carry a different kind of light into this world. A light that heals, a light that activates others. A light that can't be dimmed by fear or failure. And once this new energy fully integrates into your being, you will look back and realize the discomfort was worth it. Every single moment of it. God is sending you energy not to change your life, but to change you. Because once you shift, everything else follows, and the signs are already showing up. The question is, are you paying attention? The inner compass, how to read the energy shifts God sends into your life. There's a moment in your journey when you begin to realize that the world you see with your eyes isn't the only one shaping your reality. That beneath the surface of your routines, your relationships, your thoughts, there's an invisible current, a divine language constantly communicating with you. You feel nudged, pulled, stirred. You sense things before they happen. You walk into a room and feel the energy before a word is spoken. You begin to notice that certain people drain you while others ignite you. Foods affect your mood, music opens your heart, silence begins to feel like a sanctuary instead of a punishment. This is not random. This is the activation of your inner compass, and it's one of the most profound signs that your vibration is upgrading and God is sending energy your way. Your inner compass is your soul's GPS. It doesn't speak in words, it speaks in resonance, in sensations, in that quiet inner knowing that tells you yes when something aligns with your spirit and no when it doesn't. As your vibration rises, this inner compass sharpens to a surgical level of clarity. You'll start to feel it in your body, in your gut, in your chest. You'll feel a tightening when something is off, and a deep sense of peace when something is right, even if it doesn't make logical sense. And the more you honor this compass, the more accurate it becomes. But if you ignore it, if you override it with logic, fear, or societal expectations, you dull your own access to divine guidance. God doesn't always speak through thunder or visions. Sometimes He speaks through discomfort, through resistance, through synchronicities that appear again and again until you finally pay attention. Have you ever noticed how certain messages keep finding you? The same quote showing up, the same animal, the same number sequence? That's not your imagination. That's alignment. That's the energy of the divine weaving its way into your perception, so you can't ignore what's being whispered in your direction. But here's the thing, if your life is too loud, you'll miss it. If you're constantly distracted, constantly performing, constantly numbing, you won't catch the signs. That's why energy upgrades often come with a deep call to slow down and go inward. God clears out the noise so you can hear again. One of the most misunderstood aspects of an energy upgrade is isolation. When you're being elevated, the divine will often pull you away from certain people, environments, and even identities you've outgrown, not because you're being punished, but because your frequency can't be recalibrated in a space that's no longer aligned with your evolution. At first, this feels lonely, confusing. You might ask, why am I being separated from the people I love? But the deeper truth is, you're not being pulled away, you're being pulled up. And when you reach a certain altitude, only those who are willing to rise too can meet you there. So how do you read the energy God is sending? You start by paying attention to the patterns. What keeps repeating? What situations keep showing up that force you to confront the same lesson? What emotions are lingering just beneath the surface of your daily life? Energy doesn't lie, and when God is sending you an upgrade, He often does it through contrast. You'll feel more irritated by things that once felt normal. You'll lose your tolerance for anything inauthentic. You'll feel a deep inner pressure to clean up things you've been tolerating for years. That's divine energy working through you, clearing space for the new. It feels like agitation, but it's actually activation. Another sacred sign is that your desires begin to shift. You're no longer satisfied with superficial goals. You begin to crave purpose over popularity, meaning over money, depth over distraction. You begin to ask different questions. Instead of, how can I get more, you ask, what am I really here to do? Instead of, how can I serve? And these inner shifts are not small. They are the signs that your spirit is remembering its original assignment, that the energy God is sending isn't just about elevating your life, it's about realigning you with your soul mission. And with that shift comes a new level of responsibility, because once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you're accountable. That's why some people turn away. They feel the upgrade coming, but they're not ready to let go of the comfort of the familiar. They'd rather stay in the loop of suffering they know than step into the freedom they don't yet understand. But if you're still listening, if you're still here, it means you're different. It means you're willing. It means that the divine has already chosen you as a vessel for higher work. So ask yourself this, what is your inner compass telling you right now? What have you been ignoring? What truth have you been afraid to admit because admitting it would mean changing everything? That truth, that's the path. That emotion you keep pushing down, that's the doorway. That dream you keep postponing, that's the assignment. God isn't sending you energy just to make you feel good. He's sending it to awaken the parts of you that have been asleep, to restore the parts of you that have been broken, to activate the parts of you that are meant to build, create, and transform the world around you. You are not just receiving light, you are becoming light. And the more you honor your inner compass, the more you allow that light to guide you, the more magnetic your energy becomes. You won't need to chase anything, you won't need to convince anyone, you'll simply align. And what's meant for you will arrive with divine precision. Spiritual voltage, why your body feels strange when God sends new energy. You're walking through your day like normal and suddenly something shifts. Your heart starts racing for no reason. Your limbs feel heavy like you've just run a marathon. Your head buzzes with pressure that isn't quite a headache, but it's there, lingering. You feel dizzy, disoriented, like you're floating 1 inch above the ground. And no matter how much you sleep or rest, you wake up feeling like your body is working overtime. Sound familiar? Most people chalk this up to stress, hormones, or being overworked. But when your vibration is upgrading and God is sending divine energy into your system, your body knows it before your mind can understand it. Your physical vessel becomes a conduit for something sacred, and it responds accordingly, sometimes in ways that feel unexplainable, even uncomfortable. You have to understand that your body is not just flesh and bone. It's an energy system. It's a temple. It's a receiver and transmitter of spiritual frequency. When new energy enters your field, your nervous system, your cells, your chakras, your entire biology has to adjust. Think of it like electrical wiring being hit with a higher voltage than it's used to. If the system isn't upgraded, the current can overwhelm it. That's what's happening when you feel fatigued, anxious, or hypersensitive during a spiritual shift. Your body is literally rewiring itself to hold more light, more awareness, more divine consciousness. And that process, while beautiful, can feel like temporary chaos. This is where many people panic. They go to doctors, get scans, run tests, and everything comes back normal. But deep down, you know it's not just physical. You know there's something more going on. You feel a presence around you, a calling within you. You can't explain it in words, but your soul recognizes it. This is what I call spiritual voltage, the energetic surge that comes when your soul is evolving faster than your body has ever experienced. And it's not a malfunction. It's a miracle in motion. One of the most common sensations people report during energy upgrades is what feels like anxiety. But it's not rooted in fear, it's rooted in expansion. Your body is trying to catch up with the new frequency you've stepped into. Your heart races because your energetic heart is opening. Your muscles ache because you're releasing years, sometimes lifetimes of stored trauma. Your sleep patterns shift because your spirit is active, receiving downloads, recalibrating in dream states. You may even experience ringing in your ears, heightened sensitivity to light or sound, or strange cravings. All of it is part of the transformation. All of it is evidence that something divine is moving through your system. But here's the part that's often missed. This process requires your participation. If you don't support your body during an upgrade, it will resist. It will fight to hold on to the old programming. That's why it's crucial to tune in, to slow down, to hydrate, to ground yourself in nature, to move your body with intention rather than force, to eat in a way that honors your energy rather than just your appetite. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming present. Because the more present you are with your body, the more easily it can integrate the spiritual voltage being delivered to you. You might also notice that your body starts craving solitude. Not because you're antisocial, but because your energy field is becoming more sensitive and selective. You can no longer tolerate chaotic environments, toxic relationships, or superficial conversations. Your body literally contracts in the presence of misalignment. That's not you being judgmental, that's your soul protecting its upgrade. You're learning to listen to your own frequency, to honor your own rhythm. And in doing so, you begin to embody a new level of integrity. You no longer betray your needs for the sake of fitting in. You no longer override your intuition just to keep the peace. Your body becomes a sacred guide, constantly communicating what's in alignment and what's not. And the deeper truth is, your body holds ancient wisdom. It remembers every spiritual imprint, every energetic wound, every divine encounter you've ever experienced. When new energy enters, it activates those dormant codes. That's why sometimes you'll feel waves of emotion with no clear trigger. Your body is releasing what your mind has forgotten. You might cry suddenly, laugh unexpectedly, feel waves of love or grief move through you like tides. Don't suppress it. That's the divine doing sacred work through your vessel. Let it move, let it flow. That's how healing happens, not through understanding everything, but through allowing everything. Let me ask you something that only your soul can answer. When was the last time you truly listened to your body without trying to fix it or change it? When was the last time you treated your fatigue as a divine message instead of a flaw to be medicated away? What if your symptoms weren't problems but sacred signals? What if your discomfort was actually a doorway into a higher dimension of yourself? This is the mystery of spiritual voltage. It doesn't just change your energy, it changes your biology. It rewrites your habits, it reconfigures your nervous system, it aligns your physiology with your divine destiny. But to receive it fully, you must trust the process. You must stop fighting your body and start partnering with it. Speak to it, bless it, thank it, because it's carrying you through a transformation that your mind can't even comprehend yet. God is not just upgrading your spirit, He's upgrading your vessel, so that when the time comes, when your purpose calls, when your light is needed, you don't just shine, you embody the frequency of heaven itself, the divine magnet, how your new frequency attracts everything meant for you. There's a sacred moment in every soul's evolution where things begin to shift without effort. Not because you're trying harder, not because you're hustling more, but because you've changed the frequency of who you are at your core. That shift, subtle, powerful, irreversible, is what turns you into a divine magnet. You begin to attract what aligns with your soul, not your wounds, what matches your vibration, and this is the moment where everything starts to make sense. The isolation, the upgrades, the emotional storms, the sleepless nights, the letting go. It was never about losing. God was aligning. You were shedding what couldn't recognize your light, so that what could would finally find its way to you. When your vibration upgrades, you no longer chase, you align, and in alignment, the universe bends toward you. People begin to sense your energy before you speak. Opportunities come not because you begged for them, but because you became the version of you that they were always meant for. This is not magic, it's resonance. You're no longer sending out mixed signals, you're clear, coherent, magnetic, and the world responds to that clarity in ways that feel miraculous but are actually the natural result of energetic congruence. But here's what most people miss. Becoming a divine magnet isn't about controlling what comes in, it's about becoming so true to yourself, so rooted in your soul, that whatever isn't for you is naturally repelled. You don't have to fight it, you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to defend your worth, The energy speaks for you. The frequency you carry becomes the filter, and this is where peace begins to settle in your life. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer trying to force what doesn't belong. You start to notice that certain things just stop showing up. Chaotic relationships, fake friends, dead-end jobs, energy-draining cycles. Not because you've run from them, but because they can't exist in your field anymore. That's the power of a true vibrational elevation. It cleans your life without you pushing, and at the same time, new things begin to enter. People who see you, paths that excite you, synchronicities that affirm you're on track. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. The divine is showing you that your inner work is becoming your outer reality. Let me ask you this. What are you still trying to hold on to that no longer matches the person you're becoming? That question isn't meant to shame. It's meant to free you. Because sometimes we delay our blessings not because God hasn't sent them, but because we're too full of what no longer fits. You can't receive what's next if your hands are still clinging to what's expired. And that's the final initiation of the divine magnet, the letting go. Not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with reverence, with gratitude, with the knowing that every ending creates sacred space for something higher to enter. So if you've been feeling the shift, if your life has been rearranging itself, if people are falling away while your intuition is rising, if you're no longer satisfied with anything that lacks soul, know this: you are not crazy, you are not broken, you are becoming. You are being tuned like an instrument to play a different melody, one that only your soul knows how to sing. And soon, everything that's meant for that frequency will begin to find you, not because you chased it, but because you finally matched it. This is your moment. The energy has already arrived. The signals have been sent. Your only job now is to stay in tune with your truth, to trust the pull, and to walk forward, not with fear, but with faith. Because the more you honor your frequency, the more you become a living prayer, a walking answer, a divine magnet for all that was written for you before time began. And that's where the real magic begins.